Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Tuesday, January 24th, and I am D Lux, also known as Deb Lux, and we are here today to give you a fantastic 7-game slate. As I've told folks before, this is my sweet spot. I think we had 7 games last night. I did win, although I wasn't the one posting lineups. Sorry about that, guys, but hopefully I can carry that forward and get you some big bucks tonight. I'm working on the. I had a 5-crown lineup, and then Jaylen Brown ended up injured, so I've got to revise it. I'm not sure I'm going to stick with the 5 crowns, but I'm feeling pretty good about things tonight. So want to give a shout out to Stacks Money 77 for being the first into the chat. So congrats on that, Stacks. Big shout out. Thank you to you, and thank you to all of our other guests joining in the chat. We got Payne Blanksman. Hello, how's it going? King of all trades is with us again. Another Tuesday NBA Slate vibes. I love it. I love it. Oh, my 2 favorite double Ds, Damian Darby and David Dulac. Yes, good to see you guys. Let's go, let's go. And Travis, sorry about being late. We had a couple of difficulties. I was kicked out of StreamYard, and Crash came to the rescue and let me back in. So we are doing good, and it's a smaller slate, so I should be able to breeze through all this. Big shout out, hello to Octavius Bailey joining us as well. Thank you. And the boy from Cali, thank you for joining today. I haven't seen you in my podcast in a while, so good to have you. So, as I said, 7-game slate, nice little nifty slate here. I'm going to be paying attention to the chat, so if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to throw them in there, and I'll be sure to answer before we finish up. But for now, I'm going to dive right in, so let's get to it. Starting with our first 7 o'clock, actually our only 7 p.m. Eastern game, Chicago at Indiana. It's a 234.5 over-under and a 1.5 point spread. So that says big numbers, little defense, and a tight game, which means I like this game. I think there's value in this game. I think there's some good pay-up options. I like this game a lot. So starting off with the Chicago side of things, you know, you've got the big 3 with Levine, DeRozan, and Vukovic, and the question is always who's gonna play well. My money tonight is on Levine. I think he has a good game. They're probably starting Mathurin at the 2 for Indiana. I think Zach LaVine can light him up. He's been playing really well of late. His pricing on FanDuel is pretty decent. It's a stretch on DK as he's over 9,000. So that's pretty high up there. I will look at him for a GPP because he's going to be low owned. I'll tell you his ownership and stack here. He's going to be pretty low owned. So I do actually like him in that GPP on DK, but feel free to put him in your lineup, your base lineup on FanDuel. I will definitely be doing that. It logged me out of Stochastic too. All right, we're going to get the ownership here in a second. I'll keep going as I wait for it to load up. Couple of pieces of value on the Chicago side, depending on what site you're on. On DK, Caruso is at 4K. And even though he's not going to be starting, he's going to be getting good minutes. I like him a lot for particularly for some steals in this game against Indiana. He's been playing quite well, getting about 28 to 30 minutes a game, and his last 4 games, he hasn't gone below 30 fantasy points. At 4K, that's a smash. He's playing well off the bench. I'd stick him in your lineup. Okay, going to, let's see, back to ownership. Ownership projections for this first game. On DraftKings, we've got, see here. Sorry, guys, taking a little longer than I'd like. All right, we've got On the Chicago side of things, as I mentioned to you, Alex Cruz at that 4K, he's only at 7.8% ownership. And Zach Levine at 9,200 at 2.2%. So again, wouldn't be crazy to put him in there in a GPP. DeSumo's another guy in the GPP at only 3,700 and 1.8% ownership. I'm fading DeRozan and Vukovic tonight. On the other side of things, for Indiana, we have a lot of injuries. So Halliburton, as we know, is out, and Nembhard has been ruled out. So that means McConnell's going to start, and you probably have Mathurin starting as well. I like both these guys. They're priced right. They are pretty chalky, particularly McConnell at 6,100 on DK. He's at 64%. But, not bad chalk at all. I'm probably going to go there, not necessarily in all lineups, but I do like him a lot, and I'm finding it a lot easier to fit in Mathurin at 5,400 on DK, 5,300 on FanDuel, but he's also pretty chalky. Buddy Hield, also chalky, 24% ownership, and Miles Turner at 19% ownership. So there's a lot of love for the Indiana guys. You have to go way down. I guess you look at someone like Chris Duarte at 4.5% ownership for some GPP value. But I'm probably, like I said, I'm probably going with a little bit of McConnell, a little bit of Mathurin, and possibly Buddy Hield on FanDuel. Okay, so that's it for the first game. Lots of action there. Takes us to the second game, 7:30 Eastern start. It's Boston at Miami, a very low 216 over/under. I actually played the over on that. Of course, that was before Jaylen Brown was out. So now I'm questioning it a little bit, but I still think they get there. Recall these teams have played each other a lot. They played in the playoffs last year. They play hard. They want to win. It's a big East rivalry, and you do have some injuries, particularly on the Boston side of things. You got Brogdon out, Jaylen Brown out, as we mentioned. Al Horford is out, and Marcus Smart out. So Boston's hobbling a little bit, whereas Miami, even though you have Jovic, Robinson, and Yurtseven out, they're really not core players. So Miami is favored by 4.5. And I do like the Miami side a little bit better here. Peyton Pritchard is going to be really high owned. He's probably going to be starting at point guard. They don't have a lot to go to after him. So he's going to get a lot of minutes. Not a crazy play at all. He's not my favorite play, but I'm probably going to end up going to him just because of his value, which is tremendous in this game, given the number of minutes he's going to play. I have him projecting at about 30 minutes today. Derek White also going to be highly owned, given the fact that he's going to play probably 34 minutes. He's not as good of a value. He's priced over 5K on both sites, and I never like going Derek White when he's that high, so I'm probably not going there. Jason Tatum is really expensive, and he's going to get a ton of usage with Brown sitting and with Smart sitting. So he's going to be all over the ball. For those of you who were with me last year, I've got to take a look and see if there's a turnover prop bet on Tatum, because 4 was the over-under that I played pretty much all playoffs and kept winning and winning and winning. And I don't see that any different tonight. He's going to be handling the ball a ton and probably forcing some things a bit, just given the stifling Miami defense. So look for that turnover prop. And then over on the other side, I do like some of the Miami players. I find Hero and Butler particularly attractive. Butler is under 8K on DraftKings. He's 7,600. Let's take a look real quickly at his ownership, because I think that's just a steal. And I'm definitely going to be looking to get some Butler. The other guy I like is Tyler Hero. I think he's coming back. He's starting to play better. He's at 6,800 on DraftKings, getting 12.4% ownership. And Jimmy Butler, only 8.5% ownership at 7,600. I love him tonight. I'm definitely going to be. It's a game where he's got to, he has not been playing great, and that's why the ownership's so low. But I think this is a game where he shows up big time. Surprisingly low ownership for Robert Williams at 5,800. He's below 1% of ownership, which is really low. And I like Kyle Lowry a lot. If you can get to him on DK, he's only 4,800. And I love that price for him. And at 2.1% ownership, again, I'm real surprised about the ownership there. I would almost rather, go for Lowry and, see what you can move around instead of taking like a Pritchard at 36% ownership. Okay, so we've gone through 2 games. A lot of guys that I like in those first 2 games. I will have a decent amount of ownership in them, as opposed to this third game, Cleveland at New York. Spread is 3.5, over under 221. Nothing wrong with either of those. It's just a slow, kind of slow game. That doesn't excite me. I think guys are fairly priced. So I am actually really, really light on this game. You've got Mitchell's playing, and on the Knicks side, you've got Robinson and Fournier out, and Quickly is questionable. Honestly, the only person I'm really looking at in this game is Jericho Sims, just given that inexpensive price point at 3,900. He has power forward eligibility on DK as well, and I think I think that's a reason that I'll probably be going with him. He's also a good pivot to a play that I'll talk about a little later. So other than that, I'm staying clear of this ugly game. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat. Doug's joined us. Hey, all, how's it going? Good luck to everybody, says Travis. And David Dulac's calling a big win for all of us tonight. So TJ McConnell, eat the chalk. I'm with you, boy from Cali. It's a good pick tonight. Maybe I sniff a 50 from TJ. Okay, Denver, New Orleans is the next game up. 230 spread, one of the bigger spreads on the night, and it's 230 over under, and it's only a 1-point spread. So again, expecting a nice close game. The big news here is we don't know whether or not Jokic's going to play. That makes a big difference for me. I am probably not going with Jokic either way, but if Jokic sits, it makes me really like Jamal Murray at 7K. He becomes super attractive, particularly because Highland is also questionable to play. I'm right now banking on the fact that neither Highland nor Jokic play, and I'm going big on Jamal Murray. Also kind of like Bruce Brown in this matchup, and Aaron Gordon's priced up a bit. If his price wasn't as high, I'd probably consider him, but I think it's a little too much for me. On the New Orleans side, we still have Ingram out, we still have Zion out. Najee Marshall is a questionable. If Najee sits, I'd be real tempted to go with Larry Nance, but need that information before making that decision. Otherwise, CJ McCollum's not a crazy play, but I'm not going there with the other opportunities at the guard position. So I'm going relatively light on this game as well, but those are some of my favorite plays. I plan to fade Trey Murphy. I'm going to fade Valanciunas, although I'll probably kick myself that I do. But Herbert Jones is another guy who shows up as a really attractive value option. He got over 30 minutes, 30 fantasy points last game, just coming back off injury. He's sort of a forgotten man over there. But he can put up some decent numbers, and if they're missing a few of their key guys, he's going to get a lot of minutes. Okay. Wait, Butler out? What? Oh, no. Wow, that's big news. Well, that sucks. All right. Just like Jaylen Brown killed me, Butler's going to kill me as well. So I'm going to go a little faster here because now I'm going to need to scramble with putting the lineup together. So I would say, Hero is definitely a boost, as is Adebayo in this case. So we'll keep moving along, but that is definitely big news. It also makes Tatum more attractive also. Okay, so on to the 8:30 game, Washington at Dallas. You have 226 over under, 7-point spread, so a little bit bigger spread. Washington's without Rui Hachimura, who just got traded. I don't think Kendrick Nunn is going to be available yet, and Porzingis is out, so they're really hurting in the front court there. Dallas is also hurting in the front court with both Kleba and Wood out. So couple of things here. I really like Kyle Kuzma tonight. He had an awesome game against Washington last game out, and he's really the offensive weapon. Now, Beal is as well, coming off of injury, but certainly from a front court perspective, Kuzma is going to dominate it. I do like Beal on DK. I think he's like 6,700, which is super attractive. So he's someone I'm considering as well. From a GPP standpoint, I like DeLon Wright. I think he's going to get good minutes, and he's a sneaky play against his former team. And then no surprise on Dallas. Got to go Luka tonight. I think Luka, far and away has the most upside on the entire slate. He's not playing against the best of defenses. It's a decent scoring game, close enough that I think he hangs in there. I really like Luka tonight. Dinwiddie's not a crazy pick either, also against his former team. So a couple of options there. Okay. And on to the second to last game of the night, my Phoenix Suns facing off against the Charlotte Hornets, the defense-lacking Charlotte Hornets. Only 226.5 over-under. Phoenix favored by 6.5. The big news here is trying to figure out, is Ayton going to play or not? If Ayton doesn't play, I'm all over Bismack Biyombo. He was fantastic starting 2 games ago. He got into foul trouble last game, so his numbers don't reflect it. He was off to a good start. He's got Mason Plumlee, who I'm not afraid of from a defensive standpoint, so I like him a lot in this game. But you got to wait for Ayton news. Now, the big thing is if Ayton ends up playing, I don't like Biyombo. You can make a pivot. If you save a little bit of money, you can make a pivot to Jericho Sims if you find out early enough. So really need to keep on that information, as it's going to be really important. Also like Chris Paul in this game. He's been really carrying a lot of the offensive load since he's been back because Booker's out. So like his opportunity for scoring, assists, and steals. And I also like Cam Johnson. I like playing guys against the front court of Charlotte. Cam Johnson had a great game his first game back. Wasn't feeling it his last game, but I expect him to be back at it again. So those 3 guys for me on Phoenix. And on the Charlotte side, Hayward is out now. That's a new addition. And LaMelo is still questionable. So, not super excited about anyone. Probably McDaniels would be the one guy that I'd be looking to, who's going to get the minutes now because of Hayward and Oubre both being out. You could look to Rozier, but if LaMelo Ball sits, I think Mikal Bridges takes Rozier, which I think is going to take that game away from him. Okay. So on to the last game of the night, and it's the Battle of LA. The Clippers at the Lakers. 230 is the total, 5-point spread. I struggled with this game a little bit. I wanted to step away from it altogether, but the 230 total is pretty good. And you got a couple of situations. You have Kennard and Wall out on the Clippers, and for the Lakers, you've got LeBron is questionable, as he has been the last several games, and Davis, Rui, Reeves, and Walker all out. So I respect the Clippers defense, don't respect the Lakers defense as much. I really like, the question with Kawhi and Paul George is always who's gonna be stronger. Kawhi is tough to fit into the lineup. He is the higher priced of the 2. He has been playing better. I tend to like Paul George here a little bit. I think he's due for a big game, and I like it against the pace of the Lakers. So I'm leaning towards Paul George. I'm not going to play LeBron. Not that it's a bad play, but just given his pricing, I haven't been able to fit him in. And I got to tell you, the fact that they traded Nunn and Reeves is out and Walker is out, it gives a lot of minutes to Schroeder, Beverly, and Westbrook. And, Schroeder's been priced up, so probably not interested in him. It is a revenge game for Beverly, but I don't think he plays particularly well against his former team. So, possibly a Westbrook. I'm going to take a look at it. Not my favorite play, but something worth considering. So I'm going to be fairly light on this late game, which means I won't have to sweat it out. Hopefully I have a nice big fat total before we get to it, but probably going to look at a little bit of Paul George. All right, any other comments in the chat as we wind things up here? I got to figure out what to do now with Butler out. That's going to switch things around. It might even give me a little space for LeBron or a Kawhi. We'll take a look. But anyway, I think that's it. So ran through kind of quickly. Hello to Bev, who's joined us as well. Josh, thanks for the news on Butler, although it's bumming me out. And tune in about 10 minutes. I'll have lineups posted, and you can check it out then. All right, guys, thanks so much. Appreciate y'all, and have a great evening. And we'll see you tomorrow as we look to crush it in NBA DFS Coach Talk.